Hi, Michael Yardney here, and welcome to the next of our Rich Habits, Poor Habits webcasts with myself and Tom Corley in the United States. Hi, Tom. Welcome back for another session.
Hey, Michael. It's great to be back.
Thank you. Tom, today I'd like to spend a bit of time talking about the success beliefs of the rich. We've already discussed in previous sessions how rich people, successful people, have habits that are different to the average person. And those habits come from their conditioning, the things they've learned, the things from their parents, the things they've seen, the things they've heard. And we've also discussed the concept that your thoughts lead to your feelings lead to your habits lead to your actions. So today I'd like to spend a bit more time discussing with you what you learned in your study of the rich people and the beliefs the rich people have that then lead to their rich habits, Tom. So let's go back a step. When did you do your study?
Well, I began my study in, I guess, the mid part of 2004, and I finished it up at the end of 2008, beginning of 2009. I spent about 18 months analyzing the data. That took a long time just because I didn't, I didn't understand that this was all about habits. So when I finished analyzing the data, I realized, my gosh, this is all about habits. So it took some time to put that data together.
So what you were really doing was trying to understand what your rich and more successful clients in your CPA practice were doing differently to the average person who hadn't achieved what they aspired to. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just wanted to answer one question, and that was, what is it that rich people do from the minute they wake up in the morning to the minute that they go to bed? And what is it that poor people do, the same time period? And I wanted to cover, the entire day. And so I had to ask all of these questions. I ended up asking about 52,000 questions during my study and gathered an enormous amount of data.
Well, you've created some top-selling books, and you're on all the blogs and the TV programs in the United States. And I know you came to Australia recently and you wowed them, and you're a #1 bestseller on Amazon in Australia. So let's dig a bit deeper now and understand some of the beliefs the wealthy people have got, the rich people, the successful people have got, and they've learned them from their parents, because I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it, Tom?
No, it doesn't, Michael. And it's because for the most part, beliefs are unconscious programming. We inherit them from our parents, from our family, from our neighborhood, from our environment, from mentors. So we're picking up all of these beliefs from all over the place, but primarily from our parents. And what I found in my research was that self-mades, who are individuals that either came from poverty or from the middle class, were somehow able to eliminate their old negative limiting beliefs and adopt new success beliefs, what I call success beliefs. And they used a couple of strategies to do that, which we'll get into, but they have certain specific beliefs that they adopted that I found in my research.
Is this part of the reason the rich keep getting richer, because of their home environment and the programming they get from their parents, Tom?
Yeah, I think parents are actually the cause of wealth and poverty in the world. I really believe that after my research. I think that they instill in their children certain habits, certain beliefs, and then the children take those habits and beliefs with them, and into their adult lives, and unknowingly either are able to succeed or they end up failing, which is 95% of the population struggles financially.
Now, of course, this is no judge of people. We're all very important, and we're all as valuable as the other. So and our parents are instilling the best values they can. I know my parents tried to instill great values in me regarding morality and dealing with people and giving to charity. But because they weren't wealthy themselves, they couldn't instill in me what I would be calling wealth habits or wealth thoughts. But I think the other thing I've learned over the years, Tom, is it's never too late. You can still get new beliefs. You can get rid of bad habits, can't you, Tom?
Oh, you sure can. And we'll talk about, the strategies on how to change your beliefs, because there are definitely specific strategies I uncovered in my research that, make fast track you're reprogramming, Michael.
Okay, so let's start with some of those success beliefs now of the rich and how they're different to the poor. Let's go through a couple, please, Tom.
Well, okay, so one of the things I found is that wealthy people have this belief that they have to learn every single day. And they do this primarily by reading, but there are other ways that they do it too. The new, these podcasts are a new thing now. They're very popular. Webcasts or videos that like we're doing right now. So the wealthy people or self-made people, they are learning every day through TEDx talks, reading inspirational books, reading books about other successful or self-made individuals. So that's one of the beliefs. I have this desire to learn and grow every single day.
Tom, I've found a common belief amongst wealthy people is that they believe they're in charge of their life. They're the pilot of their life, while the poor people tend to be the passenger, and life happens to them because of the government or the bad education system or the tax system. So I know one of your results, one of the results of your research was that the wealthy people are responsible rather than being a victim.
That's right. And that victimhood really is an anchor belief that holds you back in life. It drags you down. And so you're always rationalizing why you're not successful. And it's your parents, it's the government, it's Wall Street, it's rich people. It's, you fill in the blank, Michael. It's anything.
Also, I've found that wealthy people think differently about money and about other rich people and wealth.
Yeah, so wealthy people are the self-made individuals who became wealthy in my study. They had this mindset that money and wealth are good. Now, that's very interesting because I grew up in a household where my mother used to quote Bible passages about how evil money was. So I grew up thinking money is evil. I still struggle with that to this day, Michael. When I think of money, my knee-jerk reaction is a negative emotion.
So many people have that dirty money, filthy rich. I can't remember the exact wording of that thing about the camel in the eye of the needle. But the answer is, if you believe you're a good person and somehow subconsciously there's this thought that rich people are not good, then you're driving around with one foot on the accelerator and one on the brake, aren't you? You're doing positive things to enhance your life, but then you're stopping yourself also because maybe it's not the right thing to do. So yes, I agree with you, Tom, that wealthy people are proud of other people's successes, while you often find that poor people are jealous of other people's successes, aren't they?
Yeah, that's another important belief, that you're grateful for whatever it is that you have. Now, the poor people in my study were envious. They weren't even thinking about the fact that they had their health, that they had a car that they could drive to work, that it worked. They weren't grateful that their kids were healthy. They were just thinking about, oh, that person has a big house and I don't. I wish I could afford a brand new car. I can't. I wish I had more money in the bank. I don't. So they're thinking always of what they don't have. And the problem with that is subconsciously your brain goes to work and it's trying to give you what you're thinking about all the time. It's directing you along the path of whatever your major thoughts are. So if your major thought is, I don't have X, maybe it's money, then your brain goes to work to make sure that you definitely don't have that, because why would you be thinking that thought if you didn't want it?
In one of our earlier sessions, Tom, we talked about the reticular activating system, which is your own inbuilt GPS system. For those viewers of this who maybe haven't seen this, go back to the earlier sessions in these blogs on either Tom's blog or mine or on our YouTube channels, when you'll actually see us talk about this inbuilt mechanism we have that fine-tunes all the information, filters out all the information. So you're right, Tom, if you think good thoughts, positive thoughts, think well about money, you'll be attracted to it. And it's not a metaphysical thing, is it, Tom? It's actually your actions you do, the behaviors you have that lead you to it.
Yeah, it's not no new age science about it. It's nothing spiritual, none of that nonsense. It's all about programming. It's all about activating certain parts of the brain. The hippocampus is a big part of the habit system, the limbic system, the basal ganglia. They're all working together, communicating with the prefrontal cortex. And they're sending messages back and forth based on what your beliefs are. They're guiding you in life. So you, before you even decide to pursue success, you really have to do a little bit of surgery on your belief system.
Well, you also have to believe that you can achieve it, don't you, Tom? Because I think a lot of people hold themselves back.
Yeah, it was a great story. Is Ben Carson, who grew up in Dr. Carson in the U.S. is very popular. He grew up in the ghettos of Detroit, very poor, and he started reading books. His mother made him read books, and he started reading books about other poor people who became wealthy, and he changed his belief system. He said, well, wait a minute. If they can do it, why can't I do it? If they can rise from poverty to wealth, why can't I do it? I have probably a better education than they do. And he was right. So I think that, that changed his beliefs. Reading books, in his case, changed his belief system.
I think Oprah Winfrey is another great example of that, because you really can't be something you can't think about or imagine. So unless you learn about how other successful people have done things, unless you read about how they've done things, it's not in the files in your mind, so you can't think that way. Tom, another difference in the way the rich and successful people think and believe to the poor people is the ideas about risk, about success, and about failure.
Yeah, so what I found in my research, Michael, was that you cannot become successful unless you take risk. And I'm not talking about reckless risk. I'm talking about cautious risk. It's calculated risk. It's risk that requires that you do your homework, that you do all of the prep work, that you dot your I's and you cross your T's, and then you dive into the pool. So you have to take cautious risk. And oftentimes that cautious risk requires that you take on debt. Now there's good debt and there's bad debt. And the wealthy people believe that it's okay to go into debt as long as it's good debt. It's not okay if it's bad debt. And good debt would be debt that you incur to start a business, to pursue a dream, to get an education. Bad debt is, credit card debt, debt to provide for, that you incur because of your consumption habits.
Sure. So we were taught by our parents not to take on debt. This is, again, the programming, but they haven't characterized the difference between good debt, which is buying an investment, buying stocks, buying real estate that's going to be an appreciating asset, as opposed to depreciating assets like the next fancy car or the latest plasma TV screen. Tom, I've also found that successful people have goals and have dreams, and their beliefs are different. They have bigger dreams, they set bigger goals compared to the average person whose goals are just to get on with life. They think day to day, while successful people have long-term goals. They have a long-term perspective.
Yeah, so I in my research, I found that wealthy people pursue their dreams, or they pursue some major purpose in life, or they pursue some stretch goal, whatever it is. Like a stretch goal would be to get your certified public accountant license. That's a hard thing to do. So that's a stretch goal. It's also a dream. So stretch goals can be dreams. And what I also found was once they define their dreams or their major purpose or their stretch goals, they start building goals around those dreams, that purpose, and those big, huge goals. And then they build daily habits around the goals that they built around their dreams. So it's a process. It's like success is a process. And the process for wealthy people is define your dreams, create goals around your dreams, and then create habits that will allow you to achieve those goals.
But along the way, Tom, along the journey, things are going to go wrong. And then people get stuck in this concept of I've failed, I've made a mistake. I've noticed that successful people think very differently than the average person about what some would call failures and others would just see as a little obstacle.
Yeah, actually the wealthy, 27% of the wealthy in my study failed at least once in business. And then, of course, they're wealthy, so what did they do? They picked themselves back up and they went at it again. The thing is, Michael, we're programmed at an early age to run away from risk and from failure. Our education system in almost every country and in almost every culture, they teach you and then they give you exams. And then if you fail, you get a bad grade. And if you fail enough exams, you get a failing grade. And then you have to go back to your parents and you have to explain to your parents that you failed. So you're getting all along the line, you've got this whole retribution that's caused by failure. So we're programmed to run away from risk and failure. Wealthy people somehow are able to shake that off, and they don't care. They're going to pursue something. And in most cases, it's a dream or a major purpose or a life goal. And if they fail, they're going to pick themselves up and they're going to go at it again. The failure is really nothing more than a learning experience. It's what did I do wrong and how can I avoid it in the future? So they learn from their failure.
We've been taught, as you say, bad habits, bad thought processes about failure because you're not as successful as other people in the class. I think when you and I went to school, we were graded even more so. Nowadays, it's inappropriate to grade some children or not to be good at sport or things like that. But the trouble is we have learned these habits and these thought processes that failure is bad when in fact it's normal. It's part of normal life. A young baby fails at walking and gets up again and falls and gets up again. Tom, I know in your personal life, I know some of your life story, you failed and you've picked yourself up. Personally, I've ruined my personal life, my first marriage 20 years ago. I've made lots of business mistakes. And over the years, I've made lots of investment mistakes, but probably not as many in the last 10 years or so. But every time I've failed, I've actually picked myself up. And Tom, I think some of my biggest successes have occurred after I've been down at the lowest point in my life, Tom.
Yeah, that's really a good point, Michael, because when you fail, that is a moment when you are the most truthful with yourself. You've been humbled, and now you're looking at things not with rose-colored lenses. You're looking at them with clear lenses, and you're at the truth. You're after the truth. So failure causes you to clear away the chalkboard and look at exactly what it is that caused you to fail. It's a humbling experience, but it does allow you to have greater insight into yourself and what you did wrong. It allows you to be truthful to yourself.
And it's a really terrible experience to go through at the time, understandably, because nobody likes that emotionally and psychologically. But having said that, if you look back, as I have, as you have, as if our viewers now look back in their life to see what's actually gone on when they've had their biggest successes, next time you have a failure, maybe you look at it in a different way. Because I think successful people believe that they can do anything they put their mind to, while the average person, the poor person, they're bound in by they're boxed in by the boundaries of their mind and their thoughts, aren't they?
Yeah, the wealthy believe that they can overcome any obstacle. And that's a belief, that's a core belief, that there isn't anything that can be thrown in their way that will stop them from pursuing whatever it is that they're pursuing. And that's important because overcoming those obstacles forces you to grow and learn. And that growth stays with you forever. So you become a different person because of the failure, the mistakes, and the obstacles.
Yeah, Tom, I only want to go through one more belief at the moment because I think we've run out of time in this video session, but I'd like to come back on another session and discuss a bit about how we can unravel some of these non-supportive beliefs. But maybe we could just finish off by talking about the belief that successful people have about contribution, about charity, about helping other people become successful as well.
Well, in a lot of cultures, and actually the Eastern culture, they call it karma. But I believe it's you get what you give in life. And the wealthy people in my study, they considered themselves to be of service to others. They wanted to help others, to improve others' lives. They wanted to exceed the expectations of others. And they really believed that their purpose on life, besides pursuing their dream, was to improve the life of other human beings. So that's a big overriding purpose, maybe a mantra, but it fits into their dream pursuit, because their dream is most likely intended to benefit society in some way, right? So that it's important for them to really believe internally that, and they do, the wealthy, that they're there for a purpose, and that is to improve the lives of others.
Fantastic. So, Tom, thanks for sharing your thoughts and the results of your research. There's lots more information in your great books, Rich Habits and Rich Kids and How to Change Your Habits, in your daily blog at richhabits.net. And I write a lot about the psychology of success in my blog at Property Update. We'll come back again. Can we catch up again next week, Tom, and have a bit of a chat? Next week, I'd actually like to talk a bit about, follow on what we started to say today about the goals and the dreams, and how rich people convert their goals into, I apologize, how rich people convert their dreams into goals. But we definitely have to come back and talk a bit about how to undo those unproductive, unsupportive habits as well. Thanks for your time again, Tom.
Thanks, Michael. It's great to be here.